What is up, boys? It's IFM back with some SPL action. Finally, we have the best tournament unspoken, and finally, I am back. Sorry for the little bit of a delay in between my videos. Yeah, fucking Christmas and finals and shit. No one really gives a fuck. So, we're gonna bring you fucking Ben Gay versus Steve Angelo. Ben Gay obviously craning. And as you can see, Steve Angelo has that Sandstorm team with the Excadrill Tyranitar combo, and Ben Gay has a pretty offensive team with a Klefki there to, develop some hazards and make it more difficult for Steve Angelo to switch around. And that first switch was absolutely magnificent for Steve Angelo. He realized he had the advantage with the Latias in against the Garchomp and decided to make the double to Excadrill and then fuck up the entirety of Ben Gay's plans with that fucking Magnet Rise. Fucking, that's amazing. Sword Sense, Magnet Rise. Gonna go for the Iron Head. Try to get that flinch off because obviously Garchomp cannot really deal with this Excadrill. And its only choice is to, miss that Dragon Tail because obviously that's gonna happen. Why else would you use a 90% accurate move? Because that's always gonna miss in the most critical situation. So he's forced to switch out. And the Iron Head to that Manectric does massive, massive damage. It's going to take it down to 19% health. Though Manectric can threaten back because it's faster before the Mega even. And as a result, Steve Angelo just kind of goes for that switch right there. And huge prediction here from Ben Gay. Goes for that Volt Switch, gets some damage in on that Latias, which is critical. And is able to switch out, though you can't forget the huge damage that Excadrill got off. So it's going to be Klefki against this Latias. Good opportunity to set up hazards. Good opportunity to go for a safe double switch as well, because obviously Latias is not staying in. This Klefki can just do too much. And as a result, we see this Excadrill versus Garchomp matchup once again. Obviously, that Magnet Rise on the Excadrill is going to mean he wins it if he decides to set up. But it's not going to be given an opportunity to do that as it just goes for the Earthquake as Steve Angelo decided to choose. And as a result, the Stealth Rocks are going to be up on Steve Angelo's side. That's going to make switching around for him a little bit difficult. And also this Gyarados straight counters that Excadrill as it resists that Iron Head, is immune to that Earthquake, and can obviously throw out the Intimidate, which it doesn't have to deal with that Excadrill. So nothing coming there from that Intimidate. Probably a Moxie set then. But Latias comes in as obviously Steve Angelo realizes he's outmatched there in that matchup. And Klefki is a double as well for Ben Gay. Absolutely amazing to counter that. And this gives him the opportunity to set up even more hazards as he sets up one layer as the Latias switches out. And you also have that Tyranitar in there that's not going to threaten Klefki at all. Going to give him an opportunity to set up one more layer of spikes, and he can even go for the third as the Stealth Rocks drop down on his own side. So as you can see, it's going to be a third layer of spikes here for that Klefki. And every time Steve Angelo switches him on it, unless it's going to be that Latias or that Gengar, it's going to take massive damage from those hazards now set up for Ben Gay. And he's just going to sacrifice his Garchomp to the combination of Stealth Rocks plus that Earthquake. And he's going to be able to get a counter in pretty well, though obviously the Manectric does not counter because of that Stealth Rocks, also because of the sand. So it's going to be a smart switch for just to go for that Breloom right here. Because Breloom can threaten out this Excadrill. It can deal decent damage with a Bullet Seed to Gengar, as well as Latias, and everything else is just going to take pretty massive damage, including this Tangrowth, which takes a 27% hit from that Mach Punch. As you can see, there is going to be Life Orb damage coming in on the Breloom. It's now down to 78% health. So if you combine Sandstorm, it doesn't have a huge amount of hits left, but that superpower is going to surprise that Tangrowth, going to take it down as it would have survived the Mach Punch. Steve Angelo definitely wasn't predicting that, as well as me. And Breloom is going to be down to 63% health, but it's a pretty safe 63, since all he needs in the future is a couple of Mach Punches, and this game might be over. But Gengar is going to switch into counter it, obviously a -1. Breloom's not going to threaten this Gengar too much, since it's just going to die straight up. And the Will-O-Wisp misses. Though thanks to Showdown, that 7% I thought he had actually was a little bit less than 6.25, so Manectric's going to fall. And this Gengar is now in to wreak havoc, but Tornadus Therian is going to do a little bit to contain it. Going to go for that knockoff on that Black Sludge. Make sure it can't get those recovery points in. And the Sludge Wave comes down as well. That's a pretty critical hit. And the second knockoff is dropped by the Tornadus. So obviously he can switch out with that Regenerator and get that Stealth Rocks damage back, but the extra damage from that crit Sludge Wave is going to stay around for a long time. And it's going to be the Scarf Heatran into that Tornadus, and it's going to take it down. And that leaves us with a pretty interesting 3v4 matchup, because Breloom can obviously deal with 3 out of the 4 Pokemon. It's just a matter of getting out that Latias for Bengay that's going to really give him the edge here. And he decides to go for the Gyarados, obviously not Mega, because that Manectric Mega'd beforehand. So it's most likely the Bounce Sub Dragon Dance Waterfall set. And as you can see, it's going to be the Bounce there. Going to be the Recover for the Latias. And this is going to make it extremely hard to break through that, as Mega Latias has amazing just defensive stats in general. And that's going to be the Thunderbolt dropped there by Steve Angelo. It's going to take out that Gyarados pretty handily. And now it's just down to this Klefki and this Breloom to deal enough damage to break through Steve Angelo's team. And Excadrill is going to take an easy switch in onto this Klefki, and Klefki is going for a most interesting move, the Heal Block, to prevent Latias from healing any damage, but unfortunately this Excadrill is not about healing damage, and the Earthquake's going to come in, going to take out the Klefki. I wonder if a double switch might have been in order the previous turn there for Bengay, but alas, it's too little too late. The Breloom comes in, it's got to deal with potential Sandstorm damage from this T-Tar that's just switching in, set up 5 turns of Sandstorm that's just going to slowly chip away at its health, along with that Mach Punch and the Life Orb that takes it down to 47. So with that Sandstorm, it's down to 41. And this leaves him, Steve Angelo in a very winning position, since he does have that Latias. Basically, the only chance that Breloom has to come out on top is either a crit on a 4 Bullet Seed, plus a Paralyze, or just a regular 4 Bullet Seed, or a 5 Bullet Seed. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Latias is left with 15% health. So he's just forced to go for that Spore to try to avoid dying to Sandstorm, as it just have 3 turns left. And the Ice Boop's going to drop. It's going to kill Breloom. And that's going to be game there for Steve Angelo. Definitely a well-played game. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to my first gameplay of this SPL. SPL 7 is going to be amazing, and I hope you guys stick around for a little bit more. This has been IFM from IFMstudios. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll bring you some more high-quality Pokemon action.